most important relationship of your life is your relationship with yourself. The one relationship that will determine everything else that you experience, everything that you create, that you attract, that you manifest, that you entertain, that you allow, and that you sustain in this lifetime is your relationship with yourself. This also determines the way that you experience other people and your relationships with other people. And the blood that runs through this relationship with yourself is self-love. Self-love is the one thing that you cannot skip in order to create the life, the work, the health, the wealth, and the relationships that you actually desire. It is your groundwork. It's the backbone of your entire human experience. And today we're going to talk about why that is and why it's imperative that you turn this into a top priority. Most people misunderstand self-love. They refer to it as a form of self-care. They have turned it into a meme that means whatever the person wants it to mean, really. It doesn't have a common understanding anymore. Some refer to it as a heightened feeling of self-obsession or just a feeling of being in love with yourself, but that only lasts a little while, really. And others refer to it as extreme selfishness. It almost resembles narcissism. Now, self-love is none of these things. Self-love is actually a heightened state of consciousness. It's a state of awareness. It's a state of wholeness and alignment with your true self. It's a deep alignment with your soul that restores harmony in every area and aspect of your life, especially in every area and aspect of yourself. So it involves self-awareness, it involves self-worth, it involves self-discipline, self-empowerment, self-development, self-esteem, self-care. So all of these aspects of self are unified in this ecosystem that is self-love. And this defines the way that you will experience the rest of reality, because everything is going through self, everything. So this is why it's your most important work. It's your groundwork. You cannot skip this work and get what you want, because there's only two things that you can get in this life. One is what you want, and the other one is what other people have conditioned you to want, or what they want, what other people, institutions, the system. So it's either what you want or whatever the outer sources want or have wanted for you. And usually that is something that benefits somebody else, not you. And so the only way to get what your soul wants to experience is to do this work, to realign with yourself, to figure out who you are, what runs through you, to figure out your true story, and then to embody that true story and take action in that direction. You can't get to watch the movie without the script, right? So you have to work on the script first. You have to do the groundwork first in order for the movie to turn out the way you want. Self-love is also related to your identity, the things you believe about yourself. Even though it's not the same exact thing, you can think of self-love as the ecosystem, and the self-identity is just one aspect. Self-identity or self-concept is just one aspect of this whole ecosystem that is self-love. That is the groundwork and basis of your existence. Now, you already came into this world loving yourself. You already had a healthy sense of self-love and self-worth. You already knew who you were. You knew your worth. You knew your value. You knew what you deserved. If you don't believe me, look at any baby. They may not know it rationally because their reasoning hasn't been developed yet, but they know it intrinsically. They know who they are. They don't apologize. They don't make excuses. They just know who they are. They know what they deserve, and they ask for it unapologetically. And no one thinks they're selfish or entitled. The natural reaction to a baby when a baby is asking you for something that the baby needs is to give it to them, because they embody it. They know it, they embody it, they ask for it. So baby humans or baby animals, they haven't been conditioned into low self-worth. They don't have a self-love deficit like most of us. And so they know who they are, they embody it. And that's why it's so refreshing to be in the presence of a baby or a baby animal. The innocence is coming from the fact that they haven't been conditioned yet. They haven't been told who they're not, and they haven't believed that yet. They know who they are. So it's refreshing to see that, to be in the presence of a wholesome creature. So this is who you are as well at your core. This is who all of us are at our core, but we've forgotten that. We've been conditioned into low self-worth since we arrived into this world, basically through our outer environment, which is, our education, the system, teachers, parents, family. In other words, people. Hurt people, condition people, condition other people. So we've inherited this conditioning basically from all the world around us, and over time we've believed this. And so with every belief that has become stronger, we've experienced, through selective perception, we experience that aspect of reality that confirms that belief. And so over and over, belief after belief, action after action, and experience after experience, we develop these false selves, this false self that tells you you're not worthy, you're not enough, that you can't get what you want, that there's not enough of what you want, that there's not enough love, there's not enough resources, that you have to do this in order to get that you have to become less of who you are, that you have to lower your value in order to get what you want. And so all these false beliefs, and there are many, there are hundreds of false beliefs around these core beliefs. And so this false self is always in a battle with the true self. That's why there's a cognitive dissonance inside of you most of the time, which is your true self, the truth that you know deep down in your soul, that your soul desires to experience, versus the conditioned self that tells you that you're not enough for that. Like, how are you going to do that? Where are you going to get the resources? Where are you going to get the person? There's not enough good men. There's not enough good women around. There's not enough of this or of that, or you're not enough, or you don't have what it takes, or all these false beliefs about yourself that have been conditioned into you are always in a constant battle with your true self. And so there's a cognitive dissonance inside of you, and most suffering comes from this cognitive dissonance. It's the inability to live out what you believe to be true deep down in your soul, but you don't even know that you believe that your soul believes and yearns for that, because you're so caught up in the false self. You've identified with your false self for so long that you don't remember who you are. And so self-love is the process of returning home to yourself, of remembering who you are, and realigning with that, and restoring harmony to your mind, to your body, to your soul, returning home to your true self. That is what self-love is. And so it's imperative. This work is imperative. It's the most important work that you will ever do. Most human beings suffer from low self-worth, low self-love, or a self-love deficit. And this manifests in every aspect of your life, in your relationships, your work, your wealth, your health, every aspect of your life. And so the way it manifests in relationships is, not only do you accept the hurt, you entertain the hurt, and you prolong the hurt, and you unconsciously choose the hurt, but you also hurt other people. So hurt people, right? Traumatize people, traumatize other people. And so most people aren't even in love. They are in a trauma bonding with other people. They select, or I should say we, because I've done this as well. I've been a master at this. We select people based on the trauma that we've experienced in our childhood, and then that we sort of try to heal that trauma or resolve that trauma through other traumatized human being. So we'll choose the person that will probably hurt us in the same way that we've been hurt before, because this is another chance for the psyche to resolve that trauma. Now, this can be resolved inside of you. You don't have to put yourself through that and put another person through that. But we've been conditioned to seek for that resolution outside of us. We've been conditioned to believe that we're not enough, that there's a sense of separation at the core of us. So whatever cure that we need, whatever happiness, whatever fulfillment we need, has to come from outside of us. It can't come from inside of us, because we're damaged inside. Remember, that is the conditioning. We're damaged. We're not enough. We're not whole. And so the solution, the medicine, has to come from outside. And so let's look for someone who can be a cure to our loneliness, who can heal us from our trauma, who can make us happy, who can give us what we want, whether it's a person, a job, more money, a certain circumstance or condition. We're conditioned to look outside of us for the answer. We've been taught to believe that we are empty inside, that there's separation at the core of our being. We're separated from our true nature. So we go outside and we choose out of every person that could love you. You're most likely, if you haven't healed this within yourself, if you are not aware of the story that runs your life, of the trauma that runs your life, you're gonna look for the exact person that will hurt you and that will confirm and further magnify the trauma, the hurt, the pain, in order to resolve that. And you're not going to resolve it. You're only going to hurt yourself even more. You're going to look for another traumatized person to fall into a trauma bonding with them and then make trauma babies, which is more suffering, more pain, more dissatisfaction, and more separation. You're looking for wholeness and all you get is more separation. And then it takes you years to recover from that, and then on to the next. And then once you're reflecting upon it, most people will place the blame on the other person. And maybe the most aware of us will recognize the role that we played in it, but it goes even beyond that. So the other person is fulfilling a role in this story, but the one writing the story, the one directing the story is you. So it could be true that the other person is a narcissist or an abuser or just not a good person or someone who didn't really care about you. But why, out of all people who could love you, did you choose that person? Why did that person occupy such an important part in your story? Why did you miss the red flags? Why did you entertain that for so long? Why did you participate in that for so long? That is the question. And this is something that most people miss, and then they move on to the next person. And they experience a version of the same story, similar result. And then your entire life can go by just from one external source of pain to another and another and another, magnifying your emptiness and your pain and your loneliness, failing to realize that the whole thing is happening inside you, the whole drama is happening inside of you, and you are the only one who has the power to access that and change that story. You can also be the one who hurts the other person. So you can be the one who hurts the other person, and of course you're not going to wake up, not even a narcissist or an abuser wakes up every day thinking, oh, I'm going to be a bad person today. I'm going to be an abuser. I'm going to be a narcissist. I'm going to ruin this person's life. Most people, at least unless you're a straight out psychopath, most people don't think this way. You just act out of your hurt and your trauma because this is the only way you know how to love. The only way you've been taught how to love is to hurt. This is the idea that you've received from your parents, from your education, wherever, entertainment, whatever gave you this idea or conditioned you into believing that to love is to hurt. And so you just act out of your own conditioning, what you're used to. You don't know how to love without hurting someone. And so you naturally hurt them just by loving them. So this is on the other side, right? So you'll either hurt or get hurt, or both in most cases, and you won't be aware of it. You will continue to place the blame outside of you. The source will always be outside of you instead of inside of you. And so this is happening on the level of relationships, but it can also happen with work, it can happen with wealth, it can happen with your health. And the two components is the low self-worth, lack of self-worth, or low self-worth, self-love deficit, and a sense of scarcity, which is related to the self-love deficit as well. So, because if you're not enough, then there's not enough of anything else. You cannot perceive enoughness if you don't feel like you're enough. So everything else will be in a state of scarcity. You see scarcity all around you. You won't perceive enoughness if you don't feel like you're enough. And so there won't be enough good people, enough good men. And so I have to lower my value in order to get this one. I won't be able to fall in love again or meet someone who makes me feel this way again. And so I have to lower my standards, accept the abuse in order to feel this idea of love that this person is giving me, because it's not even real love. Most of it is trauma, but I am conditioned to believe that that's where the love is going to come from. As soon as I resolve the trauma, then I will experience love. It's a dangling carrot, right? So it's crazy how the mind works, but we're not aware of it. And so this is happening on the level of wealth as well. There's never enough. So I have to manipulate reality. I have to do this in order to get that. I can't do what I love because what I love is limited to a number of people. I'm not talented enough. I'm not good enough. It's not not everyone can do that. And so there's not enough for everyone. And so I have to lower my standards, settle for a life of quiet desperation, doing what I don't love for money, because there's not enough for everyone. And so we've accepted all of these beliefs that are constantly preached to us through the system, through other people. We've been repeating these beliefs for most of our life. And so we've ended up creating a life that resembles these beliefs, even though they're false. They're not true. They're not essentially true. And this happens with your health as well. It happens on every level and aspect of your life. And not all your thoughts are going to be of lack and not enoughness and low self-worth. Of course, your life is not a horror movie all of the time or most of the time. But the point is, there's so much unnecessary suffering caused by our own low self-worth and by other people's low self-worth and by the collective low self-worth that we are all embodying, believing, and enacting. And so the way to heal the world, even the things that are seemingly unrelated to this, is to heal your own relationship with yourself, because you're experiencing the world through that relationship. You're acting out of that hurt. You're embodying that story of hurt, of not enoughness, of lack, of low self-worth, of self-love deficit. And so the way to heal that in the world you see is to heal it in yourself first and foremost. So this is why self-love is your most important work. It's your groundwork. This is something they should teach in school. But instead of teaching us how to love ourselves, how to know ourselves, how to improve our lives, they taught us, I don't know, who had an affair with the king and the queen of whatever country and how many people were killed in the process, whatever, except what matters most. And there's a point to that. There's a point. It's not random that they taught us all kinds of BS. It's so much harder to control and oppress people who love themselves, that are empowered, that are aware, that are alive, awake, people who know their worth. It's so much harder to manipulate them. It's easier to manipulate people who think they're not enough, who think they're worthless, who believe any BS you throw their way, who think there's not enough. And so they have to fight for the limited resources, the crumbs that you throw at them. It's so much easier to manipulate people who do not love themselves. And so loving yourself is not just returning home to yourself. It's not just a spiritual act, but it's an act of self-empowerment. It's a revolutionary act, really. Self-love is your greatest revolution. And I just wish that most people understood the importance of this work and practiced it, because this would change the world. It wouldn't just change your life or mine. It would change the lives of the people who you relate to every day, and it would change the world at large. So how do you start loving yourself after a lifetime of speaking another language? How do you return to your original language of self-love and self-worth? How do you repair all this hurt? How do you decondition yourself? It starts with changing the beliefs and the thoughts that you hold about yourself. And this changes your identity, your self-concept. So it starts with your mindset, really, and then it translates into your actions. The change in your mindset is also grounded, or it can be grounded and anchored in daily habits. Because you're a creature of habit. Your mind is made of habit. Your body is made of habit. Everything about you is habit. That is repetitive actions that keep you alive, that are done over and over and over again. Thoughts that are believed over and over and over again create your personality. About 80% of your thoughts are the same as the day before, and about 70% of those are negative. You're creating your entire life from inside of you. You use selective perception for everything. The things you perceive determine and even further reinforce your beliefs. And then those beliefs enable you to take certain actions or not take other actions. Like we said before, if you don't believe you're worthy of love or of abundance or of doing what you love, you're not going to attempt it. You're going to sabotage every opportunity that life gives you. You're going to sabotage it. Every opportunity to be loved the way you want, you're going to sabotage it because you don't recognize that. Your trauma doesn't recognize what true love is. And so you have to heal that within yourself. You have to change the script at the core of you in order to even know and be able to recognize the gifts that life is giving you, the opportunities that life is giving you, the love that life is trying to show you, and that you're missing because through your selective perception, you're focusing on the things that align with your low self-worth. with your self-love deficit, that align with the beliefs that you're not enough, that you're not worthy, that there's not enough, that there's lack. And so you reinforce that and you create more of that, both individually in your own life as well as collectively, because we're all sharing this world together and we're all co-creating it. And so the work really is simple. There's no mystery to it. It's just like working out. Like, say you haven't worked out your entire life and then you decide to go to the gym. The first month is not going to be easy. It's going to be like speaking a foreign language. You're going to be faced with all kinds of insecurities, fears. Your ego's going to fight you because your ego is designed to keep you safe. So what? Are you going to change your life now? Are you going to start believing that you're worthy, that you're beautiful, that you're enough? Like, really? No way. I'm not going to let you, because that's foreign to me. And so I as ego am designed to keep you safe. I'm designed to keep you safe in your old ways. So what's happening? I have to protect you from yourself, right? So here's where you become stronger than your ego and you rewrite your programming. It's not easy in the sense that it's uncomfortable. You go through a period where you don't know who you are, where you are changing, you're transforming. It's uncomfortable and you have to persist, and it takes discipline and it takes work. So everyone who says, oh, do it overnight, it's easy. The results may seem like they're coming overnight sometimes, but behind every overnight manifestation or every overnight results, there's so much time of you changing inside, or of you doing the work inside. Think about this in your own life. Behind every significant change for the better that you've experienced, did it come overnight? Or was there some kind of opening in your mindset before that manifested for you? Was there some kind of shift in your mindset? Even if it's just in your mindset, it doesn't have to be physical. If the manifestation is not, it doesn't have to do with your body or changing your body shape, or if, say, it's money or something else. Like, if you think about it, you see that there had to be some kind of mental shift in order for that physical shift to manifest. In order for you to experience whatever you're experiencing in your physical reality, there's something else that is sustaining it from within you. It would not manifest, it would not exist if there's not something else that is making it possible within you. Okay? So I'm not saying that you consciously caused your whatever, negative circumstances you're experiencing. Nobody's consciously causing hurt to themselves. But there's something in your story, there's something in your perception, in your habits, something inside of you that is sustaining that outer reality. And once that something heals inside of you and changes inside of you, the outer circumstance cannot be maintained. The outer reality is just a reflection. It's like a mirror. It's not the ultimate reality. The outer reality is a reflection of our individual and collective thoughts, and then followed by actions, of our belief systems, followed by actions, repetitive actions over time. The ultimate reality starts inside of you. And so this is where the work starts. So it's a process, just like with everything. It doesn't happen overnight, but I wouldn't wait another day to start this process, because why wait? Truly, the only time we ever have is in the present. It's not in the future. We're always evolving. So even if you start the process now, you're not gonna be the same as a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, at the end of your life. But why wait another day? Going blindfolded through this life, directed by your trauma and your pain and your insecurities and your low self-worth and your false self that they have conditioned into you, versus freeing yourself, at least taking that first step towards your freedom and opening up to the possibility that you may actually be worthy, that you may actually be meant for love, for abundance, for wholeness, for health, that life may actually be beautiful, and that it may actually be trying to love you if you just let it, if you allow it. And so I encourage you to start this work today. Thank you so much for watching this far. I hope this helped, and I will see you in the next conversation.